Video non riesmente, no? BPL Hello and welcome to Rev Sports show on the ongoing IPL. We are obviously in the business end of the tournament, and today Mumbai Indians face KKR. These are two teams. Well, Mumbai Indians for sure is out of the league. Pretty unfortunate after winning it for 5 times. KKR on a very tight rope. The match might just favor them, but depends how they go about their tournament. And as always, I'm really pleased to have three very special guests. We might have one more special guest join us in a bit. Joydipta, Debashish Sen, and Damini Basu. Joydipta, let's start with you. Obviously, every time we think of KKR, we can't not think about you, given all the wonderful stuff that you've done for the franchise. Your thoughts on KKR. Would you say it's been a very inconsistent? I mean, I think it's a fact. Probably it's been inconsistent with 7+ losses, but hi, Nishant. Very a warm. I suppose it's an early morning for you as well. Welcome to the
Yes,
show.
thank you very much. It's a very early morning, but I'm happy to be here, delighted to be here.
Hi
Thank you very
Nishant,
much.
welcome on the show.
Thank you very much.
Hello,
Welcome, Nishant.
Nishant sir. Hello,
Thank you.
Nishant sir.
The
So
condition here is
Nishant, yes, go
no
ahead.
one will call me sir because it will reveal my age.
Yeah,
All right. So no sirs, no madams, and Nishant, we were just beginning to talk about KKR, MI, both on the verge of sort of going out of the tournament. And I was starting with Joydipta. Obviously, he's been involved with the franchise. Joydipta, your thoughts on what has led for KKR in terms of this being an inconsistent season this year? What's gone wrong thus far?
well, firstly, before I get into that, we just got to remember that these two franchises have won the IPL 7 times, and they've come runner-up a few times, and we are going gung-ho over a few teams which have never won the IPL till date. So this can happen in sport. You can have an off year, but a lot of respect for these two teams for what they've done, especially the Mumbai Indians. They have been the number one team in the IPL over the last 14, 15 years. Yeah, I think both the teams faltered in the auction. I think that's where the problem happened because it wasn't an easy auction as we've discussed many a times. No right to match cards, just your retentions. They went with retentions of Varun Chakravarti and Venkatesh Iyer, two people pretty new to IPL cricket, pretty new to Indian cricket. Generally, the retainerships are the stars of India. The people like Shreyas Iyer, he didn't because he wanted to be captain, so he left. But Rishabh Pant and Rohit Sharma and Surya Kumar Yadav and Jasprit Bumrah and Virat Kohli, look at the names. They're really big players or players who've been around in IPL for a long time and holding their own. People like Harshil Patel. He's not new to the IPL. He's been around for a lot of years. But both Varun, who hardly plays any first class cricket, hardly plays any state cricket, and along with that Venkatesh Iyer, these were two names pretty new. They let go a lot of the better players. Rahul Tripathi, seasoned campaigner, again, put him in the same slot as somebody like Harshil Patel, been around for a lot of years, Maharashtra, first class cricket, list A cricket, T20 cricket, lot more experience, lot more dependable, lot more consistent. So I think they faltered there. And then after that, once they got on the park, and after the first match for KKR, when the results didn't flow their way, they panicked. They played many a players. Aaron Finch has played for 9 franchises in 14 years. If you're that good, you won't get to play for 9 franchises. No franchise will leave you. That's obviously a hint that it hasn't been great for you, as it hasn't been for Owen Morgan. They're great players for their country with white ball, but with in the IPL they haven't hit off. And 21 players have played 10, 11 games for KKR. That can't be good news.
Wonderful analysis. I think that's telling that last stat 21 players. And Nishant, I'll get to you as well. In terms of Mumbai Indians, would you reckon that it's the same thing that's gone wrong for them in terms of auction strategy, in terms of not retaining good players, or is it a lot of tactical errors on the field as well?
Uh, I think it's a combination of two things. One is, as Joydeep said, that it could be what went wrong at the auction. But I think over the years, Mumbai has been a team that has relied a lot on their core. And I think in this season, their core has not clicked. And this year, they formed their core around Rohit, around Ishan, and those runs have not come. Like even if you look at Ishan Kishan, the kind of confidence they had on him, and the way they went and bought him in the auction, It just told you about the mindset of that side, that how badly they wanted him. And once you want someone badly, you also want that guy to perform also, and that has not, I think, happened at that level. If you look at the IPL chart this season, it's a very interesting chart. The two teams which are like newly born, newly minted, are topping the charts, and the teams that are most experienced, Mumbai Indians, Chennai Super Kings, and KKR. They are at the bottom, and in that, three most successful teams, 10, 9, 8. That's how it is stacked right now. So it just shows that I personally feel that Mumbai's core, the players whom they always rely on raising their hands up at critical situation, has not happened this year, and that is the reason why I still think the same Mumbai Indian team, Rohit Sharma contributing at the top of the order, Ishan Kishan playing some impact innings. Uh, Surya has been doing a lot of work in the middle overs, but he has not got enough support from other key players. And I think keeping all of those factors in mind, just get those runs from these two, three people, and you will see a very different Mumbai Indians. And that has not happened.
And Surya
So
is
the
out
core
today,
has
just to add to the bad news.
Surya is
Just
out.
to add to the bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, the core hasn't performed. So clearly, very, very concentrated bets, very heavy bets on someone like Ishan Kishan. Obviously, that hasn't played out as well. Devashish saying, the last time the two sides played each other, I mean, Pat Cummins went all guns blazing, record-breaking 50. According to you, you saw Pat Cummins's rise. You saw Venkatesh scoring a 50. What are your thoughts in terms of KKR? What changed thereafter? After that, Umesh had a fabulous start. Where did it all go wrong for KKR?
It's a bit perplexing because they still haven't find combination right. Even for tonight's match, also you see as many as five changes. So they haven't yet found out that core group, what to say, means their combinations right. Even there have been too many chopping and changes right from the start at the opening order. They have tried as many as five opening orders, so that doesn't speak good for them. And also, like was the case as Pat Cummins, someone who we all know that is a international player, he's a captain of an Australian side, and he misses out because one bad match, and it can happen to anyone. Even the best of the bowlers, and then you get him out. It's good that they have got him into the for tonight's match. So KKR has not found out the combination. Even they are in the thought of what would be the right combination, who to get in, who would be opening the batting, who will be the bowlers to go for. So that is something that is something which is not associated with top teams, say a Gujarat Titans or a Lucknow Super Giants. They have found out the playing 11, hardly one or two changes, or even for that matter, they have stuck with their winning combination for most cases,
And
which was not the case.
Devashish, five changes today as well.
Five changes today as well. Ajinkya Rahane, Venkatesh Iyer, Sheldon Jackson, Pat Cummins, and Varun Chakravarti, they are all in. So as many as five changes, and it's a crunch game for KKR. If they need to win tonight's match so as to stay in the contention for a playoffs. So uh, let's hope that they click.
That's a good one. I mean, yeah, clearly a lot of inconsistency shows probably the team is not very confident, doesn't know what may work for them. Damini, I obviously know you're a big KKR fan like many others here. I want to get your thoughts on Umesh Yadav, right? Obviously started off so well. He's bowled so well in the middle orders. What in the game, obviously last game he didn't play. From the matches that you've seen him bowl in this particular IPL, what do you think has sort of what have you liked? What have you sort of liked in terms of his bowling? What should he do in a crunch, in crunch situations like today?
I would say that Umesh Yadav has been the only bowler from KKR who has promised a wicket every time in the power play, and a wicket in the power play means that you are on the go, choking the opposition. You're putting them on the back foot. So Umesh Yadav was definitely, he was at one point of time also in the race for the purple cap. Unfortunately, now the others have surpassed him. KKR at this point of time, along with Umesh Yadav, is the other bowlers as well who need to contribute a lot. And as rightly pointed out, that five changes, this means, and the five changes, we can see that the previous match against MI, KKR have gone back to that combination. Perhaps Shreyas Iyer is, wanting to get that winning combination to play against Mumbai tonight. Perhaps he has that belief. Pat Cummins, after so many speculations and so many people bombarding him with doubts and, why is he not playing, suddenly coming back. But, I'll put it this way, that it doesn't mean that, KKR has been a team bringing, after so many changes also, there is no guarantee that these players are going to play well. Is it their form? Is it, mismanagement? To we can't comment. It's just that whoever is in the playing 11, each and every person as a unit has to contribute in every department of the game. The tournament is at, it's in such a stage right now, and for KKR, of course, it's a crunch game.
Yeah, lots of pressure on Shreyas, and from a fan such as yours, hopefully they deliver tonight. And Jolly, I want to get your views. Obviously, you've managed franchises like KKR. On both ends, we notice that there are players that the franchises have backed despite repetitive poor performances. Some may call it emotional backing. Some may say you're giving a very long rope. You look at a Pollard. You look at on KKR side. You spoke about Finch and probably many others who have sort of. Do you agree that on both sides, the teams have sort of backed players who have not delivered, be it form, be it consistency, whatever you may call it? Have there been, has there been tactical errors even on team selection, let alone auction? And if that's the case, what does one do? How does one manage a situation like a Pollard, or let's say if a Venkatesh isn't performing, or anyone else for that matter?
So that's a great question. As Nishant said, sometimes you want your big players to perform. If they perform, everybody else can just do their little bit and get away. No problem. When your big players don't perform, then you want the others to perform and take up the mantle. When that doesn't happen, what happens is panic sets in, because it's a long tournament, but it's not a long tournament. Matches are every other day. This year with no travel and only just 3-4 grounds, it's okay. But back in the day, you play, you lose, you come back at 1 o'clock in the night to the hotel. Next day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there's a flight. You go there. Next day there's a game again. You win or lose, you fly again. You come back, you're playing a home game again. So there is no time to ponder over wins and losses, anything. You just got to get going. So that's the reason why I think both these teams are missing their crunch players. So when I look at Mumbai, under the gun, Rohit Sharma is not finding a Krunal Pandya, not finding a Hardik Pandya, not finding the people that he always went to. There are the big players for every team, but it's not always the big players that win you. When KKR went to the finals last year, Venkatesh Iyer was one of the heroes. He wasn't a big player then. He became a big player after that. So this is also a stage for the lesser known players to make a name for themselves, as many of them are in the teams with Gujarat and Lucknow, because they are top of the table. Similarly, for these two teams, it hasn't happened. Mumbai has always had a strong team. Mumbai has always been very good in the auction, but they got Tim David. Kranti, I know that brings a smile to your face. They got Tim David, and they were fist pumping in the auction, gave him 2 games and didn't give him 6 games after that. That's very unlike Mumbai. If you're fist pumping after getting somebody, how can you just give him 2 games? You got to give him. That means you wanted him. He was in your plans. You have faith in him. Then give him what Liam Livingston has done. Give him 6 games, 7 games. Then you take a call on him. Because in this version, especially people batting where Tim David does, you will actually fail more often than you will succeed. But when you succeed, you will win your team the game. Because you come at the fag end, you don't get enough balls, you got very little time, the best of the bowlers are back, and you're only asked to play at a 160 strike rate. It's easier said than done. So I feel with Mumbai, they've not been able to get the team. With KKR, because there was no right to match card, they've let people go, and suddenly they're realizing that, oh my God, Ajinkya Rahane back today, Finch is either one. Do we need to? And the wickets have also changed. Umesh, we were talking about, he's not in the 11 today, he's still injured. The wickets have changed slightly. It was a lot greener, a lot more seaming in the first half. Now it's getting a little tired. 18, 20 games in each these squares. You play on one pitch, but the next strip is people where the runners are running on. So they take a lot of wear and tear. So these pitches, the whole template of the IPL is changed slightly from the seaming, Mohammad Shami caught in second slip and seaming around. It's not that anymore. It's become a little more slower, lower. The spinners are coming into play. The cutters are coming into play. The totals have come down. So I feel KKR are really feeling, one is that they don't have the team that they wanted, and secondly, their key players are not in form, and they're panicking. How can you drop Varun Chakravarti now? I mean, I know he's back today, but he should have played earlier because the wickets are now conducive for spin. And he's your mystery spinner. He's done well for 2 years. Okay, he's had 1 off year. You got to still back him.
Lots of tough questions for both sides. And before I move on to Nishant, I want to get Jadita your perspective on two players because obviously you would have seen these guys grow, flourish, and get into the thick of things. One who is playing today, the other one who is not. I've heard you talk a lot about Anukul Roy, and I want to hear about him as well as some he's not playing today. And the other one who is playing today, Rinku Singh, obviously had a very interesting game last time. Your thoughts on these two talents? How have you seen these young boys mature? Tell us a bit about their careers and what do you like about these talents.
See, Anukul has been part of the system. He's the chosen one in under 19 India, who won the World Cup along with Shubman Gill and the likes that Prithvi Shaw, that group. So he's already been there in the system for a long time. Very handy left arm spinner, hard hitter, brilliant fielder. So he's also, but he's not getting a proper run in this version. 2020, you've got to give people 4, 5 games, 6 games on the trot. You just can't give them 1 or 2 games because when you drop them after that, and the guy who plays instead of them is feeling, oh my God, this guy got 1 inning or 2 innings. I've got 2 innings too. So then I play for myself. That's detrimental for the team. I know if I can get a 30 ball, 35, maybe I'm playing the next game instead of trying to get a 50 of 30 balls, which is better for the team. So in the context of the version, you got to give these guys, anybody you put in the park, a little more backing. Coming to Rinku, again, junior cricket, didn't play for India under 19, but came through the system. Absolute daddy player for UP, averages over 16 first class cricket. He is their go-to man. Bats 5-6 for UP, plays really match-winning innings. And today, Ranji Trophy quarterfinals are happening after the IPL. Rinku Singh will be there. And he's one of the reasons why Uttar Pradesh has made it. So he's a really good player, and he's been around. He was there in 2018 when I was there, and he still didn't find his feet in the tournament. But now he seems like he's a complete package. He's out on the table.
Absolutely amazing to see these new raw talents sort of get that platform. I mean, Rinku's story is nothing but amazing. Nishad, your thoughts on the Mumbai side. So there are two players I want to get your views on. I mean, someone like a Tilak Verma, obviously has impressed on many an occasion, has come through the ranks as a local, fantastic local talent. What do you think someone like a Tilak Verma needs to do to sort of, progress further? He seems to be, permanent fixture in MI, but for him to sort of knock on the selector's door, what should someone like a Tilak Verma do? And as well as want to get your views on Daniel Sams, started off with a shocker, but has clearly turned around in terms of his performance in the tournament. Your thoughts on these two players, please.
Just picking up, I have a point to make on KKR first and foremost. If in the 12th game you're making 5 changes, that that clearly tells you two things. First, your combination is still not. You're still trying to figure out your best combination. And if by the 12th game you're still, fitting with your first 11, that means something is drastically wrong with your team combination. If you're making 5 changes in your 12th game. Now, coming back to your question, I think Tilak Verma, in a format like this, the best thing about IPL is I always love the slogan of IPL, which is that the talent meets opportunity. And this is a place where he should be observing and absorbing as much as he can. He is sitting among the greats. He's part of one of the most successful franchisees in the league. And obviously, this year has not gone well for them, but he has made his own mark. So I think Mumbai is in that stage where they are trying to create new Hardik Pandyas and new Kunal Pandays. So maybe 1 year down the line, next year or 1 or 2 years, if you give these players the likes of Tim David, Tilak Verma, little more time to mature, I think they would be a very, very different, different kind of players. Experience will make them what they should be doing for the Mumbai Indians. And I think Daniel Sams, I think coming here, the problem most of the international players have is to understand the conditions a little better. In India, especially on these kind of wickets, the key is how well you play in the middle overs. Whether you go and attack all around for the 20 overs, or you have that approach where you take a boundary of the first 2 balls, take off the pressure and take a single and go to the other end. Some players do that very well. If you look at someone like Shreyas Iyer in his form, in good form, will try to get the boundary of the first or second ball and then and then change the strike. So that always takes the pressure off you. But if uh, you're playing spinners in these conditions, you play 1 or 2 dot balls, you suddenly feel that pressure, and then you have to play that pressure releasing shot, and in that process, you start making mistakes. A lot of people say that 2020 is batsman's game. I don't think so. I think it's a bowler's game because batsmen are always under pressure. A one dot ball, they start feeling the pressure. So I think dealing with those pressures have been the key, and it takes some time for not as a team but as an individual as well to figure out what works best for you in these conditions. And I think that has been the challenge for Daniel Sams.
Very well said about talent meets opportunity. And, sometimes if it's a bad year, this is probably the year for an individual to make a mark because obviously it sort of shows that whilst others haven't been able to sort of make it big, you've sort of played quite well. Someone like him, someone like Surya. And, Debashish, I want to get your thoughts on KKR as two very, very good spinners, over the last decade. I mean, someone like a Sunil has obviously proven his case. Varun has had wonderful couple of seasons as well. What should KKR strategy be when they bowl against MI? Sunil obviously has troubled someone like Rohit as well. So if, from your perspective, if you were sort of managing the team, what should the game plan be for these spinners from KKR standpoint?
Obviously, now that KKR will be batting first, their first objective will be to have a great start. And I doubt, because with Ajinkya Rahane, which we all know, with due respect to Jinx, he's too good a batter. But then you need to have a move on in the power play, which was not the case with KKR. Right from the start of the season, they have not utilized the power play, the first 6 overs. The proof shows that they have tried as many as 5 opening orders, and so yet again they have fallen on Ajinkya Rahane. So I think that puts a lot of pressure on Rahane as well, because you need to give any player for that matter a long rope to succeed. Say the likes of Gujarat or LSG or even for that matter RCB. You need to try. You need to give a long rope. Which was not the case. Every time you saw someone not performing, and then you were out of the playing 11. So that was the case. But then the main problem for KKR, which I feel, is that they have not utilized the power play, which has been their biggest concern. Because McCallum, after the last match, he did mention that KKR has been the side. They are still pondering what is going wrong as far as power play is concerned. And now you have someone like a Umesh Jadhav who has done well in the power play, picking those early wickets. He is going to be missing tonight. So problems are plenty as far as KKR is concerned. But then the good thing is that you get in a Venkatesh Iyer opening the batting for KKR, who has done well last season for the night. So he is someone who can utilize, he can play those lofted shots, utilize the field placements early on. So, but then Rahane for me can be that grafter. He can hold on the innings, because KKR has lost too many wickets in the power play. So maybe uh, towards the business, towards later on, you have power hitters like us, Andre Russell or a Pat Cummins, who can come good, but provided you cannot lose too many wickets in the power play, you need to preserve your wickets. And say for us, of Venkatesh Iyer, he can take the role of someone who can utilize that power play options. So KKR has very challenge, lot many challenges as far as this match is concerned. So they need to figure their way out.
Devashish Sen clearly seems a little concerned about KKR's chances tonight. But Joydeep, I want to quickly get to you in terms of this power play versus non-power play. Both the teams have had a contrasting approach. KKR, as Devashish was saying, it's been a bit of a challenge, right, when it comes to power play when you're batting, and compared to, let's say, Mumbai's approach, which has sort of been a bit of a flip. Your thoughts on? I think Nishant made a great point about this being a bowler's game, and batsmen obviously could come under a lot of pressure unless they manage things well, especially during the power play. What's the right approach, for both teams? How should these teams sort of manage their batting power play better?
Person is in. If you're asking Shikhar Dhawan, he has his own way of going about his business, as does David Warner, as does Prithvi Shaw when he's fit and well. But we're talking about when they're in form. Over here, we are talking about probably 4 people are not in form. Finch is not in form, but right now, Ajinkya Rahane, Venkatesh Iyer, none of them are in form. Rohit and Ishan not in form. So when you judge anybody who's not in form, then it's probably not the right thing to do, for the simple reason they're not at their best. But having said that, I also feel that the Mumbai openers have more firepower, as we know. Rohit and Ishan, we know, what they can do with the cricket bat in the power play. Hasn't worked for them. I'm reading that this wicket has a bit of grass in it, which will actually help the ball coming onto the bat, something that Rohit and Ishan both like. Ball coming onto the bat, so for their free stroke play. And also with a lot of grass, there can be some seed, which you haven't seen, but I just read it. So I don't know whether it's green or whether it's the brown grass, whether it's just going to be just a really good wicket for batting, or are we going to see some early movement as well? That time will tell. But yes, I think it's a bigger challenge for the Kolkata Knight Riders openers, for the simple reason that Ajinkya Rahane is not a natural tonker of the ball. He's never been in the T20 scenario for India, for the only reason, for somebody who's played, 80, 85 test matches, has played for the country, has captained the country, but has never been in the T20 books, for the simple reason that he's not a natural. He has done well in Rajasthan Royals in bits and bobs in Delhi, but he's not one of those guys you will obviously go to every time as an opener. Him, I don't know if Venkatesh Iyer is going to open, if Sheldon Jackson's going to open, because the way KKR has played this year, you can't see anything coming. You have no idea what's coming up. We could see Venkatesh Iyer at number 6 and Sheldon open, because Indrajit started opening all of a sudden. He doesn't open for Tamil Nadu. So that is just a question of panic, and they're just really panicking because they're feeling none of their players, to be fair to them, none of their players have been in form, except Umesh and Sunil with the ball. None of their players have been in form. Even Pat Cummins has got for 50 with the ball. I know he's won games with the bat, but his job is actually to bowl, because as Nishant said, 5 bowlers. So those bowlers have to do their job. If he's going for 50, who bowls for him? His batting is an added bonus, but you want your bowlers to do the job with the ball. Otherwise, you're chasing 200 plus.
Well said. Inconsistency, lack of form, lot of confusion. And Nishant has just shared on the chat that Surya Kumar Yadav has been ruled out for the season. That's a sort of season. I mean, the Ambanis and the Rohit Sharmas would be sort of scratching their head. Well, we're just about 5 minutes away, and let's get to everyone's predictions and thoughts for tonight's game. Damini Baswal, start with you. What are your thoughts? What's going to be the score line tonight, and what's your prediction?
Well, the match being played at DY Patil, we can expect a high-scoring game. Though the 200s are not that frequent now, as time and again has been pointed, it's been reduced to those 150s, 160s, 170 games. And KKR batting first. Let's just hope they get along with their batting pretty well this time at least. Of course, I'll be loyal to my team. I'll go with KKR, and I just hope that they play well. At least they play well.
So KKR, folks, if you're hearing, there's a lot of hope, lots riding on that team. So I guess you're hoping for a 170 plus with KKR winning. Nishant, your prediction for tonight?
I personally feel that the team that has nothing at stake, it frees their spirit. So I think Mumbai Indians is in that mode now. They have nothing to lose from here. And personally speaking, I always love these 150 games more than these 200 games, because more often than not, these 200 games become, in the second innings, become a game of lamb and the slaughter. I always find that 150 game, that means the wicket is challenging, and there's an equal opportunity, and the competition between bat and ball is very equal. I feel that Mumbai Indians if I think their job will be to turn the table a bit, not just for them, but for everyone else.
All right, so you have 1-1. You want a low-scoring game, and looks like you want Mumbai to prevail. And Devash is saying, I know where your heart lies, but what's your prediction? Where would you put your money tonight?
I would rather love to see Mumbai playing the spoil sport here, because it's a good toss to win. Good toss to win tonight, right, because Dew might be a factor, and also KKR with those 2 spinners in Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narine. Second innings where Dew might come in, so it will be a bit difficult. And also, if you notice last match, they had a great win against Gujarat Titans. So I think the momentum will be with Mumbai Indians. And also Rohit, although he got out in last 2 matches, he looked set. He was taking on the attack, but unfortunately, the 2 dismissals, if you have noticed, it was unfortunate for him. And also Ishan Kishan had showed glimpse of coming back to form. I won't say, but Ishan Kishan on his day can take on any attack. So I would put my money on Mumbai Indians, because it's a good toss to win and bowling first. So if they can restrict KKR to 160 odd, I would say Mumbai Indians have the firepower to win this match tonight.
Jadita, Debashish Sen is a convert. He's moved to the other side of the western coast of India. What about you?
Yeah, my heart and my money are both with KKR. Heart for obvious reasons, money for the fact that I think KKR is in slightly better form, and I also feel they have more firepower in their team than Mumbai does. So I'm going with KKR.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right. So we 2-2. I'm going to break the tie. I think I'm going with Mumbai tonight for the same reason as Nishant what he said. I just think I'm just hoping for a great Rohit Sharma and a Tim David show. Big Tim David fan, and I think I think Mumbai probably will come out all guns blazing. So let's see how the game goes. Its match is just about to start. Have a good game, guys, and we'll see you after the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.